Well, okay. We will try again. I had to restart some things there. So, so basically, welcome to the stream again. Some of you people may jumped in and looked that I actually stream sometime news and stuff. So yeah, I have created my own little news information. As you can see, I have like my idea was like a spiderweb type of system, right? So you have different news scalpering through the web, right? As you can see, different like here we go. This is NASA in the middle here. Different colors and stuff. Red, you can see there is a lot from the sun. There are more conflict stuff. Why UK double troops down, right? And if you click on them,
the recognition that the high north is now an area of priority. Now, why is it an area of priority? Well, we have to look at the fact that Finland and Sweden have just joined NATO, so there's a greater NATO focus that's up there. But also Russia has been increasing the number of bases it's got along that northern flank. And
of course,
traditionally, if we go back to the Cold War, the UK had an organisation called Ace Mobile Force Land. That was right. a NATO organisation, a NATO force, but UK commanded itself. That specialised in looking at NATO's flanks, with its flanks being...
Right, so it's updated every 60 seconds. He starts to look for new news, like, right? So it's not always the same, right?
Not many other NATO nations have that, and hence why it's logical for the UK to increase its focus on there and help support our new NATO members and the increasing threat from Russia. Well, the increasing threat from Russia that there is based on Russia building a number of new bases effectively along the Finnish.
So then you basically get always news, right? You. It would be like different news coming always. Right, so if we click back out here again, you can see it's still looking for new small plane crash land. So what is this? Georgia roadway. That's funny. Right, so the greens are more casual stuff. I think like you can spider on. What is that? That nothing. It shouldn't be green. Is the sound on? Right, so each scalper always news, right? So it always keeps circulating around a different, and I have some hard coded also. So BBC, X, if it's urgent and live, something happen, it should come in yellow, right? And then you have a article if it's a new article that comes out on a specific area. Right, and that's have different colors also. I was thinking it would be really cool to add some sounds to if some special news, right? What is this blue one? A hostage. Thai shooting. 8 minutes ago. What the fuck is this? The sun. Wow, okay. I have a lot of friends in Thailand now. A lot of people I know lives in Thailand. That was so crazy shit. Tell you the truth. So you see that is actually really engagement. It's also a little bit fun also when you click around on the news, right? So you can see it has the spider web, so it's actually creating different news stuff. I have to, right? If you understand what I mean. So it's spidering around. So let's go back again. If we click out here again, boom, right? So you can see we got Fox News, the 5, right? Investigations, we got some stuff here. Iran sanction, what is this?
Gave me the order via Treasury to exert maximum pressure on the Iranians, and it worked. Someone asked me over the weekend, do sanctions work? And I can tell you what doesn't work. It was handing the Iranian regime, trying to buy them off with pallets of cash. What the Iranians understand is brute force, whether it's in the financial markets, whether it's on the military field, and at Treasury we have
Yeah, we've been watching a lot of Iranian news and stuff. I have to say this couple of, oh, here we go, yellow one, Fox News alert. Let's check this out. Oh, okay.
Has died after revealing he was battling colon cancer late last year. Our own Fox's Ashley Bjorken has a look back at James Vanderbeek's life.
I didn't want you to go. I wanted you to stay here with me.
Actor James Vanderbeek has passed away. Vanderbeek is best known for playing Dawson Leary on Dawson's Creek throughout its run 1998 to 2003. During those years, he also established himself on the big screen, with roles including 1998's Varsity Blues, Texas Rangers.
Oh fuck, is he dead? Holy shit!
Attraction in 2002.
6 months ago, I found out
that's
that I was
sad.
diagnosed with cancer.
Vanderbeek had been open about his battle with stage 3 colorectal cancer,
48
sharing his
years, holy
diagnosis
shit.
in November of 2024. He became active in raising awareness.
Oh yeah.
In December 2024, he was part of the Fox
Is
special The Real
he
Full
died today or
Monty,
what?
bringing attention to prostate, testicular, and colorectal cancer.
11
In
minutes
preparation,
ago.
he joked about how the dancing may have given him pause, but from the start, he wanted to help put the spotlight on early detection.
The reality kind of set in on what we were actually going to do and how we were going to get the attention to raise the awareness. But for me, I knew that Anthony would put together a really good group of men, a really good support group. I thought it would be a really amazing thing to be able to share my story amongst them and enjoy that support and have everyone come together for that common goal. And that's exactly what we did.
Most recently, Vanderbeek made a surprise video appearance at a Dawson's Creek reunion charity event, which was in support of F cancer. James Vanderbeek is survived by his wife, Kimberly, and their 6 children. Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
James Vanderbeek dead at the age
Wow,
of
okay.
48.
So that was I've seen some of these videos
Hey, Sean
actually.
Hannity here. Hey, click here to
Tell me the
subscribe
truth.
to Fox News.
So that was 9 killed. Okay, so this is okay. So 9 killed. That one I've already seen. So that's in the Kennedy, right? So the red ones are a little bit some conflict stuff going on. What is this blue? SpaceX. No. NASA. January 13. Will I get that problem again? What is this? Okay, let me refresh this. Right? You can see now, so when I refreshed it, so it wakes up again. That is pretty cool. And then it creates this. Let me see if it was working. All right. All right. So then we get this problem again. Okay, that it start loading and it's actually overloading my internet. I think that's what it's doing. There could be. Oh, oh no.
So this is what it looks like driving through a drone tunnel in eastern Ukraine, about 15 to 20 kilometers from Russian positions. Not ideal, but we did take a number of precautions that we'll run through in this video. Now, at baseline, I wanted to share what this main logistical route looks like along one of the hottest sections of the front, as well as the conversation between me and Legion as we drive this dangerous stretch of the country. So Legion is an American Army veteran who's been fighting in Ukraine since 2022 and is just awesome in helping to facilitate this trip. And in this video, you'll hear us discuss in real time why blackout driving in this case isn't really important, the threats posed by different types of drones, interceptions in the distance, and a pretty powerful talk from Legion about how the war has changed him since he first went over in 2022. Lastly, to give some context, this is the stretch shown in the video as we drive from Izium to Slavyansk in the last few days of 2025. And the beeping in the background isn't a drone detector. It's because we don't have seatbelts on. That's a judgment call along certain areas of the front where there's a significant drone threat. Essentially, it's best to leave that unbuckled so you can exit the vehicle as fast as possible. And with that, let's go. So we're in it now.
We're in it, yeah. We're in the drone zone.
I mean, this is perfect because we got the video with the background music.
Yeah, it is.
You get the copyright struck as soon as it goes up.
Yeah.
It's the important shit here.
So this is, we see lights ahead of us, right? So there's a few things I look for when we're going down these drone roads. First, FPV netting. Yes, I know that they can hit us with Lancet drones, everything else. That's a lot less likely.
That's new though, right?
Yes,
the Lancet.
New is concern. We have drone teams up to take them out. We've got Rev in place. There's a lot of things, right? So the first thing I'm looking for is FPV netting. It's like, okay, cool, we got FPV netting. Next thing I'm looking at is how many vehicles are coming down the road and what kind of vehicles they are. Are they civilian vehicles? Is it all military vehicles? Things like that. If I see a block post like this, if it's a manned block post, like this one's manned, right?
Yeah.
So whenever I see that, I'm like, okay, cool, that's like a checkpoint, right? Like a save point in a video game. So if something goes on, we can get pretty quick actions out to us. And we're only 20 minutes out. So it's obviously very dangerous, but it's...
And this is where it opens up too.
We have a quick exfil.
They've got to get vehicles out of here fast if they get hit, I would imagine.
Yeah.
It's got to stay clear, right?
Yeah.
This becomes a major problem if it gets clogged up with a couple.
It does. Vehicles will just push them off to the side, though.
And then eventually get out here and try to move them off.
Yeah, that's pretty situation normal, right? Just to push it off to the side. But I won't lie, it makes me nervous.
Yeah. The nets are there for a reason.
Yep, exactly. And yeah, my anxiety's gotten worse and worse.
It's hard to tell if the limited traffic is good or bad. It means we can drive faster, but...
it's just nighttime, so there's not a ton of traffic.
Yeah. A little more consistent during the day.
Yeah.
Is there ever a scenario where blackout driving makes sense? Or does it not really matter with the thermals at night? And then at day?
No. Just, do a little bit of blackout, right? When you're at, closer to zero line. And then you just have a small amount of light. Just enough so you can see in front of you, but your taillights are blacked out and you only have one headlight running. And it's taped over a bunch with green tape, so it's you have very little light protruding out.
More just kind of standard light discipline at the front than...
Yeah.
This is about the normal spacing.
Yep.
All right. Okay. Sorry, I was working in the background a little bit. Okay, so we will have to try this. So as you can see, my spider web of all the news here that is coming, right? So it's picking up news from different news stuff, and if it comes anything specific and new, we have different colors for different things, right? The problem is that we are spamming a lot of news, even though if we are looking at something or moving around, it's always picking up news, so it was crashing my internet here. Tell you the truth, we will test here. If I click here, I go no. Yeah, now it's loading. Actually loading it up. No, you can see it's load up, but it won't play. If I go to YouTube now, I will have the problem. It's spamming, right? Ukraine 2 hours ago. Check here. Yeah. And it's doing it also on my web browser. Right. Very strange. When I'm running the app, if I'm running the system, it's killing my internet in the back. Okay, if I stop this now. Yeah, so I'm just testing this new news app out, guys. Just thank you guys for joining, testing it out. The concept is pretty cool though. I don't know what you guys think with this spiderweb stuff that picks up news from different locations, right? But what it's doing, it's actually killing my net.
In the last 24 hours, an unusual movement of the American force in the Middle East region has been on display, including at the
I'm running the app,
where missiles and mobile launchers were placed on trucks and preparations were recorded for a possible firing. At the same time, reinforcement of transport, refueling, and electronic warfare aircrafts were seen, while on the waters of this region, more United States ships have been deployed, leaving less room for error. Is this activity meant as pressure to bend Iran into an agreement, or is it the final preparation before a move that will finally put an end to the region of terror by the Revolutionary Guards? It's hard to be sure, but because the United States is broadcasting in two directions at the same time, we don't know. So, on the one hand, President Donald Trump says that he prefers a good deal, and on the other hand, he makes it clear that the military option is on the table, and that if the talks fail, the forces are already here. This is not a theoretical threat. On the ground, a large fleet of aircraft carriers of all types has already been deployed at United States bases within striking distance from Iran from all the directions. And additional aircrafts have been spotted at other bases in this region, while on a remote island whose name is forbidden to be revealed, one such that served as a strategic base, additional unfamiliar fighter jets.
Oh, okay. I'm still in the back here. Hold on. I'm just looking at the app. Why the spider web or not?
But the
So
central
let me
story
mute the
for
mic
us
a little
here
bit.
in Israel is the missiles. Iran is not asking only for a nuclear deal. It is fighting to preserve its ballistic missile production capability, as well as a massive firing capability that will create deterrence against Israel. And assessments circulating in recent days speak of a buildup rate that could bring Iran to have around 1,800 to up to 2,000 ballistic missiles within weeks or just months if no action is taken to stop this move.
Before Vladimir Putin launched his invasion of Ukraine, the rules of long-range...
They are part of a pattern of rebuilding stockpiles and an attempt to restore large-scale launch capabilities, and the regime signals it is not stopping. In Israel's air defensive establishment, they are already preparing the ground for a completely different campaign than anything we've seen before. This will not be another localized event, but larger scenarios with heavy barrages, a high pace, and a response time that determines whether it is limited damage or a wide blow. Everyone knows that in the worst case scenario, seconds will count, making the difference between relief and disaster, life and death. Therefore, everyone is on maximum alert, preparing for every possible scenario. Iran, for its part, is playing on all angles. Regarding the Americans, it is conducting tough negotiations with one demand that returns: do not touch our missiles. And against the region, it is trying to recruit a coalition from Turkey to Saudi Arabia to present a front that preserves the United States' freedom of action. And inside, within Iran itself, the regime is tightening its grip. There are reports of wide-scale arrests, including prominent figures in the foremost camp, and preparations by the authorities for what could reignite the streets over the weekend. And alongside the negotiations, Iran is also projecting a threat, not only in general messages, but also by displaying capabilities. A new missile was presented this week with the claim of an ability to penetrate Israel's defensive systems, while amongst the Israeli analysts, there are those who doubt some of the data, but no one dismisses the threat. When Iran talks about missiles, it is not doing public relations. It's building an equation. Agree to a deal without missiles, or deal with an umbrella of fire. And behind the scenes, we see another sign. Iran is strengthening and hiding assets. Satellite images point to physical steps at nuclear sites, including building concrete walls at bunker entrances and reducing movement all around the openings. It sounds technical, but the message is simple. The regime is preparing for a blow. It is trying to harden targets and buy time. The assets it's trying to protect include missile launchers and storage sites, but also bunkers for VIPs and command systems. And then comes the psychological game with Washington. From Tehran come messages that try to separate America from Israel, including accusations that Israel is dictating policy, attempts to warn the president about Israeli influence, and an attempt to paint Netanyahu as someone pushing the United States into war. At the same time, they say, we are not against diplomacy. We are just cautious. We learn from the past. We will examine the other side. It is the same pattern to buy time, to keep the nuclear program with minimal limitations, and to take the missiles off the table. However, the Americans are also applying economic pressure, including steps to sanction the shadow fleet that carries illicit Iranian oil cargoes. For their part, Iran is taking steps that create risk of a clash at sea, including Iran's most familiar threat, closing the Strait of Hormuz. This is a choke point through which a huge part of the world's oil supply passes every single day, and any flare-up there can ignite a global market and spike prices, so everyone is walking a tightrope. And meanwhile, in the broader picture, there is also a complex regional interest. Saudi Arabia which
Okay,
in the
guys,
past
I'm back.
to regional
Let's
agreements,
try this
was
now.
pulled back and
Right,
is keeping a
so
cold
we're
distance
going
from
to have our
everybody.
spider web. So here we
There
go.
are those who estimate
Oh
that
no.
for some
Okay.
Sunni players, it is convenient that Iran's regime remains
That
weak,
doesn't
but
look that smooth.
continues to exist as a
Okay.
threat that can be managed, a
Is
card
it
that
supposed to be like
arranges
that? Or?
interests, and a mechanism that justifies more weapons and more patronage. And at the same time, a broad Sunni coalition is trying to fill the vacuums that opened in areas like Lebanon and Syria,
Now,
and
this
everything
does
mixes with
not
the
look
battle
smooth.
over
What
public
is
opinion
this?
in the Arab world around the Palestinian issues. This is not a footnote, but
on its
the
street.
stage of which Iran is trying to survive. And that
People
brings us
coming
to
out
today's
here in
meeting at the
Tehran and
White
in
House.
cities and
And
towns.
Prime Minister Netanyahu's message is very clear. We cannot have an arrangement
Okay,
that
no,
speaks
that did
only
not
about
work.
the nuclear issues and ignores the missiles
That did
and
not
also
work.
the
You
support
can see
for
it's
terrorism in this region, Iran's proxies. There is a demand for top core lines, including zero enrichment of uranium in Iran, removal of existing
a video open, start playing, but
range limitation on ballistic missiles,
there's
and
something that is looping in the back here.
terrorism.
So if can I
Also one
open up a
critical
YouTube
request
video
that
then?
Israel have military freedom of action, even if an agreement is signed, because from Israel's perspective, if the missiles are not addressed, the quiet will be an illusion until the next barrage of rockets. It is important to say this as well,
So is this
that the Trump administration is not naive. It is receiving full intelligence pictures, both from their own intelligence apparatus, as well as from Israel. It sees the preparations on the ground, the fortifications, the rebuilding, the messages, and the Iranian
Alright, let me
attempt
go back
to buy
in,
time.
try to figure
Coming
that
days
out.
can mark the fracture line. Either there will be a deal that also dismantles Iran's strategic capability, or a countdown to a military move unlike anything we've seen before. And that brings us to TBN Israel's senior Middle East analyst, Mati Shoshani. Mati, can you tell us what's going on? Are we heading to a nuclear deal without missiles, or is our path actually to a wall that will destroy the Revolutionary Guards in Iran? But a moment before Mati answers this question, I want to call on you to keep spreading the truth, share our content with as many people as possible, and if you love TBN Israel and want to be part of what God is doing in this land, we have something special for you. Visit our official online store at shop.tbnisrael.com. There, you will find high-quality TBN Israel merchandise, items that help you stay connected, share the message, and support our mission of bringing truth, hope, and faith straight from Israel to the nations. Every purchase that you make helps strengthen our work here on the ground and allows us to continue reporting, teaching, and sharing what's happening in Israel from a biblical perspective. So whether you're looking for a meaningful gift, something to wear that represents your faith, or a simple way to stand with Israel, we invite you to visit our online store today. Go to shop.tbnisrael.com. Again, that's shop.tbnisrael.com, and be part of the mission. Now, we will move to TBN Israel's senior Middle East analyst, Mati Shoshani, who will tell us what we can expect in the days ahead regarding Iran. So, Mati, over to you.
Yair, that's a good question. The meeting between Trump and Netanyahu, what could it ultimately decide? Are we heading towards a deal with no nuclear program and no missiles? Or are we getting closer to the moment when the final details are locked in for a wide strike on Iran? So let's start with the main development. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu has already landed in Washington. The meeting with Trump will take place at the White House behind closed doors with no press statements. This isn't another ceremonial photo op. This is a working meeting at an extremely sensitive moment. And it matters because alongside diplomacy, the military picture is moving on the ground. Trump keeps making it very clear. He prefers a deal. In an interview, he said Iran wants to reach an agreement and that it would be foolish for them not to. He also emphasized the Iranian regime deceived previous administrations, but with us, they're talking. At the same time, he said it plainly. A deal, in his view, means no nuclear program and no missiles. In other words, not just freezing enrichment, but also addressing the ballistic missile systems. But behind that message is a clear threat. Trump is already signaling that if talks fail, all options are on the table. He's considering sending another aircraft carrier group to the region. Right now, the USS Lincoln carrier group is already in the area, together with 8 destroyers. That is a force that enables deep strikes and also the ability to block key shipping routes. And in parallel, new satellite images show a significant buildup. At the El Udeid Air Base in Qatar, Patriot launchers were placed on trucks to allow rapid deployment and relocation in case of fire from Iran. Over the past month, 5 transport aircraft and 4 refueling aircraft were added. At the Muwafaq Salti Air Base in Jordan, imagery documented 17 F-15E jets and 8 A-10 aircraft alongside transport planes, helicopters, and electronic warfare aircraft to the E-818G type. Now in January, those aircraft were not seen there. In Saudi Arabia, Diego Garcia, and bases in Oman, additional aircraft have also been added. The operational meaning, broad readiness for an escalation scenario. And on the economic front, there was an option examined to seize Iranian oil tankers. The administration discussed a move similar to what was done against Venezuela as part of the fight against the shadow fleet that moves Iranian oil under sanctions. But in the end, they backed off the idea, fearing an Iranian response and spike in oil prices. One scenario being discussed is mining the Straits of Hormuz, a route through which up to a quarter of the world's oil supply passes. And the meaning is, the maritime and energy arena is inside the equation too. Now to the Israeli angle. Netanyahu already met with envoys Witkoff and Kushner at the Blair House and received an update on the first round of talks with Iran. Now before takeoff, he said that first and foremost, he will discuss the negotiations with Iran with Trump and present clear principles. Now, according to Israeli sources, Netanyahu will bring new intelligence to the meeting on Iran's military capabilities. The assessment being presented is that without action, Iran could possess between 1,800 and 2,000 ballistic missiles within weeks or months. That number comes up again and again in briefings. In Israel, we see that as an immediate threat to the home front. So Israel's demand is clear: zero enrichment on Iranian soil, removal of all enriched materials, limiting missile range, there's talk of 500 kilometers, and zero tolerance for proxy financing. And in addition to all of that, freedom of military action, even if an agreement is signed. The concern in Jerusalem is that after an American signature, it will become extremely difficult to act without being portrayed as the side breaking the regional calm. In Tehran, they're watching closely. Ali Larinjani has already warned the Americans not to allow Netanyahu to teach them how to run the negotiations. Foreign Minister Arakchi said Iran entered talks with no trust, will not stop enrichment, and the missiles issue is not up for discussion. At the very same time, the Khulmashal 4 missile was unveiled, which Iran claims can reach Israel within 10 minutes of flight. And in Israel, they doubt the numbers, but they're preparing for the possibility of a wider escalation, including responses from Hezbollah and the Houthis in Yemen. Now, behind the scenes, there's also reciprocal intelligence exchange. Israel wants to share information on developments inside Iran and on regime activity. And at the very same time, Israel expects to receive a broader American intelligence picture on Iranian preparations. So what can this meeting decide? It can define 2 different things: whether Trump sets a short, clear timeline for negotiations, at the end of which there's a decision, and whether he brings the missile and proxy issue into the deal. Now, if not, Israel will face a hard dilemma. And if he does, the meaning is a direct clash with the Iranian refusal. Now, for now, the American military is preparing. Diplomacy continues, and the clock, well, it's ticking. I'm Mati Shoshani, now back to Yael Pinto.
Thank you, Mati, for giving us your usual clarity on these vitally important issues. Now, to our viewers, I say, keep spreading the truth, share our content with as many people as possible.
Thank you guys for hanging around. I'm still working on the code in the backend here for the spiderweb news system that I'm creating. Right? It's still taking some time here, but I will see when we get it up again. Oh, maybe it was the
emerged from an
colon.
underground infrastructure, opened fire towards the IDF forces.
Right, so I will start it up sooner or later here, and we can see the live feeds coming in from different areas.
Reality is being built. This is not a classic war, but a routine of friction. And Hamas challenges the lines almost every day and touches exactly the points that are hardest for the IDF, sending women and children to approach positions, to test response times, to test procedures, and to try to create an operational dilemma. Soldiers describe it as a scenario in which there is not a moment of quiet, because behind every civilian, there can be marking of an axis, or a readiness test, or an attempt to draw fire. In this routine, reserve forces also operate, holding a line over time, including soldiers from the Alexandroni Brigade who are in another reserve rotation, in outposts east of the Yellow Line, deep in the buffer zone between the Gaza border communities and the heart of the Gaza Strip. These soldiers say it plainly, that what they are doing now will shape Israel's defensive line for years ahead, and therefore, every small incident carries great weight. And above all of this activity underground,
alright, okay, let's try it again. Hey, this is just a trial and test, right? Yeah, I just came around this idea today to try to create something like this, right? With the AI.
However, within this broad plan, an unusual international component is also entering the picture in the form of Indonesia, which is talking about sending a force
so now he's not creating anything.
5,000 to 8,000 soldiers as one brigade, with an emphasis on engineering and medic units, as well as special components. The idea is that they will integrate into a peacekeeping force and will be stationed in
the videos are opening.
Attorney General, meet with the survivors. They have been asking for a year. Meet with the survivors. Do
one line. Underground,
the right thing. I yield back.
I was curious if you...
And behind the scenes, pressure for demilitarization and the establishment of a new mechanism in Gaza. And amidst all of this, the question hovering over everything is who will bend the reality first, the diplomatic plan or Hamas's daily guerrilla activity. Now, we are focusing on the northern arena, which is a major source of concern.
Alright, it's not working.
Iran, and remember that Hezbollah
the concept is very cool, I have to say. I need to rebuild it, looks like.
Is under a threat.
But the concept is cool. I think you get in the news, right? It's sculpting around for the news and give it to you with different types of levels.
Although the Lebanese National Army deserves some credit for taking this important step, behind the scenes, it was IDF military intelligence and the Northern Command.
Everyone has known he's been doing
coordinates of the tunnel so that the Lebanese National Army could move in and find it. So the question now is sharp. If the Lebanese army is getting praise for dismantling,
that's what Donald Trump said to a Florida police chief
really a change on the ground, or just a swap of the credit? And in the meantime, pressure on Hezbollah is rising another notch. The organization's Secretary General Naim Qassem is already setting a clear condition for any talk about dismantling what he's calling the national
2006
in
about
Lebanon,
Jeffrey Epstein.
as if
according
the
to
other fractions in the country haven't been telling Hezbollah to disarm and stop provoking Israeli responses for decades. In the speech where he made this absurd proposal, he also said that in his view, no one will dictate to Lebanon that it should give up what he calls the resistance. In his eyes, the demand to dismantle the weapons is the central goal of Israel and of America. And once again, he's neglecting to mention that it has been a central goal of nearly everyone else in Lebanon for many years now. But alongside the political pressure, an internal shift is also happening. In Hezbollah, they are talking about reorganizing after the blows that it took in this war, and senior figures were eliminated, and the organization is looking for stability. And meanwhile, the United States is pushing the Lebanese army towards an operational plan to dismantle Hezbollah north of the Litani River, but Israel is demanding results first in the south and makes it clear, as long as there are infrastructures, warehouses, and tunnels, the IDF will continue to operate. And to sum up, Hezbollah is trying to look political while it is rebuilding itself. And the question that we'll continue to keep our eyes on is whether we will see a real dismantling of the weapons in Lebanon or another
Canada,
round
because
of
the Prime Minister there, Mark Carney, says he is devastated after 9 people were killed.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the code here again. The concept is cool. Could be real cool to have something like this going on. Also, in the news cycle, I start and it freezes up. That's what they do, is start and then start freezing up.
been asking for a year. Meet with the survivors. Do the right thing. I yield back.
I was curious if you, Congresswoman, asked Bill Clinton that. Didn't see one tweet, not one. I didn't see one tweet.
Camera's running. Right, are you ready, Steve?
I'm ready, yeah.
Here's what we know so far. The attack happened at a school and a nearby home in the small town of Tumbler Ridge and is located about 415 miles northeast of Vancouver. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police
executives and elite athletes, but it's fast becoming big business. The idea is that precisely measured, often small adjustments to your physical routines and behavior can lead to major health benefits. It can even help you live longer. The term can cover everything from quirky therapies to longevity labs. The BBC's Michelle Fleury reports now from New York.
I'm Anthony.
I'm Teresa.
I'm Legend. I'm Love.
And we are the Biohack Yourself family.
The Lolly family isn't chasing wellness. They're fueling a movement. Biohacking treats the body like a machine, measured, optimized,
I think I got it now. I think I know how to get the spider web. So you can see what I'm trying to do. It's not working out, right? But I think I got it now. Make it smoother in the background, and when I click into a video, I have to stop the spider web in the background, right? So give me some sec. I'm trying to figure out. You guys are vibe coding the news system here with me now. Alright, so okay, let me test this out again now. Hold on. Let me see, guys. If I click this, it should just open up the feed. And it just did it. Let me try something live.
That you believe must be included
okay,
to ensure
that works.
DOJ can continue to operate.
So this works, right? I close
The task
whatever was going in the background, right? Stopping it fullständigt because we don't need it. Hold on. Yeah, just bear with me. We still got the new system up, right? So we are trying out the global nexus right here, right? So it's a spiderweb news where he gets news, right? So I'm creating this for my news channel here that we run around sometimes, right? So what we are doing, we are getting news from different location. I was having some problem with it, but I'm working on it. See, right? So it has to be smoother. Let me see if I update this now. Yeah, that feels so much smoother, right? So you can see here, right? So we got different colors for different news, and it's popping up, as you can see. Different stuff. It pick it up from BBC, Orbital, War League, BBC News, different here, and you see different colors, conflict, right? Urging global cyber. What is this? Okay. Expedite chips at Trump. Netanyahu-Trump meeting. Right?
The Middle East with the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu due to meet President Trump at the White House later today. The talks they're holding are widely expected to focus on Iran. Mr. Netanyahu wants the US to push Tehran to cut its ballistic missile program and support for armed groups across the Middle East. Iran repeatedly saying it will only discuss its nuclear program and suggested it might be ready to limit its ambitions in return for sanctions relief. The negotiations restarted last week against the backdrop of a large American military buildup in the region. Let's take you to our Middle East correspondent Yulan Nell, who joins us from Jerusalem. Yulan, Benjamin Netanyahu, very experienced with American presidents, very experienced when it comes to these kind of meetings, and he knows President Trump well. What is it, though, that he is going to be after from the US president?
Well, what Israel really wants to see is the US widening the scope of its
I'm just watching the news
with Iran, so that they embrace
the
more
concept
than
is
just
pretty
its
cool.
nuclear
I don't know
program.
if you understand.
It wants to look at
right?
this
So
issue of ballistic missiles,
the spider web
the
system.
arsenal that Iran has been building up. It wants to look at Iran's support for proxies around this region, whether it's Hezbollah in Lebanon, Hamas in Gaza, the Houthis in Yemen. But Iran has been insisting that this should be
then it checks the news,
about
get the
its
news.
nuclear program. We've had some new comments in the course of the day from the Iranian president saying that they won't yield to excessive demands. And you've also got an advisor to the supreme leader in Iran being quoted on Noor News, Iranian media, saying as well that Iran's missile capabilities are its red line. They are not subject to negotiation. And this all appears to be happening at a key moment because we've had that first round of talks between the US and Iran in Oman at the end of last week. And, you know, the American negotiators are expected to go ahead with another round of talks soon.
Yulan, do you think that they will get on to Gaza, or is President Trump just leaving that until the Board of Peace meets next week?
So this is primarily about Iran, according to the Israeli Prime Minister. That's what he told journalists before he left. And indeed, he was supposed to be going to the US for that Board of Peace meeting next week. But he brought his visit forward because of the advances in talks between the US and Iran. He has said that Gaza will be on the agenda. And of course, this is happening at the time when the US has said it's moving on with the second phase of President Trump's peace plan, the more complicated phase. We've had the Israeli Prime Minister reiterating in recent days that Hamas must be forced to disarm. We understand from US media reports that plans are being drawn up.
brothers in Tumbler Ridge will wake up without someone they love. The nation mourns with you. Canada stands by you. I want to thank and pass on
Baltimore. Welcome to you both. Abel, first of all to you, it was initially the Republicans who were making the running on releasing these files and putting so much pressure on. We saw that from President Trump himself in the election campaign in 2024. Why does it now seem like it's the Democrats pushing for more information, for more unredacted files to be shared?
Scheduled to lift off no earlier than February 12th. That is an adjustment after an earlier weather scrub called today due to poor conditions in the ascent corridor. We're going to talk about that more in just a little bit.
In North London is a former pupil. That's what the Metropolitan Police have tonight confirmed. You'll remember that on Tuesday lunchtime, officers were called here to Kingsbury High School in Brent in northwest London after reports that two students, boys aged 12 and 13, had been stabbed inside a classroom. We've since learned today that the suspect involved, who was arrested after a 1-hour manhunt yesterday afternoon, was a former student. We heard from some witnesses here who say that that boy is alleged to have worn his old school uniform after being excluded from the premises behind me a few months ago, has made his way back to the school yesterday.
All right, I have actually I think I got it now. So here we go. Here's the spiderweb news, what I was trying to create that I have been working on today, right? So it picks up different news from different areas, right? You're getting some intel, urgent, alert, tech, space. You see, it's getting a conflict, different sources, right? BBC, router, Nexus, right? Weather, what is this? Severe weather system detected. Music? Oh, this shit is definitely. What is this, BBC? 1 minute ago. No, it's not opening. Okay, okay. Let's see here. Oh, so it's not doing exactly what I want, right? Is it like weather? What is this? Alert? Yeah. So it's not opening. Okay, so I will go back and try to fix it.